Hi, everybody, and welcome to a new episode of The Lit Lounge. And today we are going to talk about arcs and what it is, what you can expect, or what you can't expect. And we're talking about trigger warnings as well in books. So Stacy is here, Megan is here. Let's kick off. Oh, let's kick off with Megan this time. Or maybe not.
I mean, we can. Um, so arcs, what to expect and what to not expect. From like readers or authors' point of view.
I think both. So what I've seen the last couple of weeks is some entitlement of authors giving their books to readers and then expect them to do certain things.
Oh yeah. Oh, I have one thing. Like, don't expect for them to get it read, like to read it like 2 days before it's published. Like, don't send an arc out 2 days before you're gonna let it. Yeah, I've caught myself in something like that, and I was like, "There's no way. There's no way. There's no way."
I've done that once as well. Or requested
What's
it to book like 6 months prior, and then 2 days before, oh, here you have the arc. Yeah.
once got an arc of a very popular book by a very popular author, and I was thrilled to get it, don't get me wrong. But it was a 500 page plus book that I got 2 days before the publishing date.
What are they thinking? Like, we don't have a life?
I mean, I don't,
Good
but
book.
So,
I think this is too where you see a big disparity in trad and indie, right? Because trad publishing, you'll get arcs 6 months in advance. You
yeah,
go to NetGalley and see all the things that are available to request on NetGalley, and these publishing dates are way out in the future. Indies, I have found, if you get it 2 weeks ahead of time, that's a long lead time for an indie.
yes.
And I
That
get why.
needs to change. Well, not really.
Because the trads have the publishing houses behind them, right? And they have hard deadlines that they have to meet that allows for arcs to be sent out so early. But a lot of these indie authors, they're doing everything themselves, right? And they have self-imposed deadlines. I'm sure they have a date in their head that they want to get this done by, but it doesn't always happen. And they don't, in the traditional publishing world, you've got your agent or whoever breathing down your neck to get this stuff done.
Yes, I get it. But I think, especially as an indie author, like plan ahead. It's so unrealistic to have your beta readers in January and you want to publish the 1st of Feb. It's not going to happen. Or you're just throwing that book in there and you don't do any editing or whatsoever. And the last week you want to have some ARC readers, but then you are complaining that you can't find enough ARC readers and they don't leave reviews. Take your time to actually put that arc out and wait.
Yeah, and if it means you have to push your publishing date back, you push your because I would rather push a publishing date than publish something that isn't the best it could be because I rushed through the editing process and I rushed through the beta and the alpha review process before I even get to the arcs.
Hmm.
Because every arc I've ever received, and I do a metric ton of arc reading. In fact, I read more arcs than non-arcs, and every one you ever get, whether it's traditional or indie, has the disclaimer that this is an uncorrected proof,
Yeah.
right? And again, in the traditional world, because they are sending them out 6 months ahead of time, it truly is usually an uncorrected proof, right? Because they have time to go back and fix things and edit things before it
Mm.
publishes. But you get them on the indie side where it says this is an uncorrected proof. the books, if you're sending out ARCs 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of the publishing date, that book better be damn well perfect and ready to hit publish, because you don't have time to go back and change anything if you're sending an ARC out 2 weeks before your publication date. Are there going to be typos? Sure, typos get missed in traditional publishing too. Like, no one is perfect. I don't expect a book to be perfect in an art form. But what I do expect is there not to be gaping plot holes. There not to be unresolved conflicts. It should be as close to being ready to being published as it can be if you're sending them out so soon before publishing date.
Yeah. And give yourself some time as well. Like, your arc are your reviews. Okay, but then I think a lot of indies, and I'm not saying that I agree with it, because I think when you get a free book, the least you can do is leave a review. But fact is that only 10 to 20% of the people you send your arc to are reviewing it. Not 100%, so you can send out 100 arcs, maybe 10 will leave you a review. If you're lucky, 20. And I think indie authors should know that as well. Like, keep the 10% in your head. And if you want more, you need to market that book like there's no tomorrow. And like, I can sort of understand, like, yeah, but I can't send like everything for free because then people won't buy it. So if you won't send it for free, people won't buy it because you don't have the reviews. So it's an investment in yourself and in your book. Send as many arcs out as you can, because the moment you're over that 100 reviews, people will buy it because your book is good and you get good reviews. Hopefully, get good reviews.
I mean, you're gonna come out of pocket some way or another, whether you're giving away free arcs or you're like paying commissions for like artwork, or just you're gonna have to front up something to get people involved in wanting to read your book. That's just kind of how it is, you know.
Well, I think a lot of indie artists don't understand how expensive this hobby is.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's not just writing a book and then you will become rich. It doesn't work like that.
It's an investment.
It's a pretty big investment.
Yeah,
And
it's
they
an
have
investment.
to decide how far they're willing to go. And like, if this is something they really want to make a go of, you're going to have take a lot of hits at the beginning until you establish yourself and you establish your name. And there's a lot of indie authors that I don't even need to read reviews, because I've read enough of their books that I know they generally write things I'm going to like.
Mm.
I mean, and a lot of those, like Brittany Shaheen, like her, I've read everything she's ever published, right? And she's been indie now. Now she's kind of doing hybrid now. She's gotten one series that was picked up traditionally, and they've contracted for 2 more new series. But all her other stuff, like, if she writes it, I know I'm going to love it. And that's because she's done the hard work for all the books that were never picked up by traditional publishers to get her name out there and find her audience. And that's what indie authors have to do. And if they're not willing to do it, then it is more of a hobby. It's not ever going to become your main source of income.
No.
And if that's your goal, you got to get in the trenches and do the work. And part of that is, and especially for brand new authors, I think, if your debut, send out 1,000 arcs if you have to on your debut, because nobody knows who you are.
Nope.
Nobody knows who you are. And I've been approached by, one author, her debut is publishing soon. I know arcs are going out now. But, she had just seen me on social media, and I don't have a huge following, but I'm active, right? And I post a lot. and I post a lot of reviews and a lot of review content, even though like those posts never do that great on Instagram as far as engagement wise, but people are obviously seeing them because I'm having authors, I've had 2 different authors reach out to me and ask if I wanted to beta read their debut. Well, hell yeah, I want to beta read your debut. Let me help. Because it doesn't cost me anything but time. Is my time valuable? Sure. But if I can help somebody else live their dream that I'm not willing to put the time in to do it myself, like I have stories, but I'm tired. Like I don't have the energy to market myself. So I will market the hell out of these other independent authors because I know you are in the trenches, especially when you're first starting out.
Definitely. And I think another thing that I saw flipping along the stars, to be honest, the stars are giving me a headache, a migraine. Dear indie authors, I know it's your book, baby. I know you love your book. But that doesn't mean that there are people in this world who don't like your book. But you can't ask them to not give their honest review because you feel butthurt. It doesn't work like that.
For a while, all of the ARC management companies, not all, a majority, had in their little disclaimer that if you were going to give 3 stars or less, to hold it for a week or 2 weeks, or so I saw a month once after publishing date. Hi, do you want to get in trouble with the FTC? Because that's a great way to do it.
Yes.
They've all taken them off of those forms now, I've noticed, because a lot of us were like, you can't do that. And even, maybe it's wrong of me, but even when I would sign up for ARCs that had that disclaimer, I still posted my review when I was done reading my book, no matter what the star rating was, because I'm not going to get in trouble. I know the rules.
I understand that it's like you want to push your book and you want to push it to the best. But
of course, you want as many 4 or 5-star ratings as you can get. I get it. But reading is subjective, and not everybody's going to love your book. And that's just the way it is.
Mm-hmm. That
exactly.
is true.
Plus the backlash that you will get from people that are actually buying your book because you only have 4 or 5 reviews, and then it's just a 2-star review.
Yeah.
I have picked up books because I've read reviews and they were like 1 or 2 stars, but when I read why, I'm like, ooh, I think I really like that. I have picked up books based on really low star reviews.
I picked them up based on their 3-star reviews.
And I don't think 3 stars is bad. Amazon thinks 3 stars is bad, which is why authors think 3 stars is bad. But I have rated books 3 stars that I enjoyed, but it wasn't like I'm never going to go pick it up again. While I was reading it, I enjoyed the process and I enjoyed the experience. Was it the best book I've ever read? No. But it also wasn't a bad book. It was just average, which is what the 3-star is. Yes. Right in the middle. 3 out of 5.
Yes. Like I just can't handle reading a book that just makes it to a 2-star. And then the whole bloody internet is full with 4 and 5 stars. People, did you read the same book? It wasn't that good. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm utterly annoyed by those kind of things.
On publishing day, only has 4 and 5-star reviews. They've sent ARCs out. Like, I don't think there's ever a book published that doesn't go through some kind of ARC process, right? If I'm looking on published date and it's all 4 and 5 stars, I'm still going to read some of the reviews. I'm going to form my own opinion. But in the back of my mind, I'm going, you mean nobody that you sent this book to prior to publish didn't like it? And maybe that's the case. Maybe they have curated their ARC readers to people that they know are going to love their books. I mean, that's just why
You're
authors
not
create
Kristen
permanent
Hanna,
ARC
mate.
teams.
Even Kristen Hanna has like 1 or 2 star reviews. Like,
No,
stay believable. Come on.
yeah, and that's the thing. And authors think 1 and 2 star, 3 star reviews hurt their books, and of course, like for Amazon, yes, Amazon's not going to push your book and spot up the list if you've got a low review rating. But to me, you need well-rounded reviews, right? And because reading is so subjective. And people love books that I hate. Colleen Hoover. People are such stands for Colleen Hoover. I can't stand her books. And it's not that I don't think she's a good writer. She's just not a writer I enjoy reading. I just don't vibe with her writing style, but that doesn't mean her books are bad. It just means they're not for me.
Yeah, I
And
think
if you're
that's
going
a
to be an
bit of
author,
a
you better grow
difference.
a thick skin because people are going to drag you,
Mm.
deserved or not. It's going to happen at some point.
Oh, definitely. And not, I think the best thing what you can do is actually go in there like, okay, my book isn't for everybody. That's it. That's the reality of writing. Not everybody will like your work.
And you know
Although
what?
I
Stay off.
can stand shitty reviews. Like if you pick up a dark romance, and this for the readers, if you pick up a dark romance, my dear readers, don't be surprised it's a dark romance. And then leave a 1 star review. Oh, I didn't like the book because God wasn't found in it.
Yep.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
What kills me are the ARC readers that do this, right? Because when you signed up for the ARC, you knew 9 times out of 10, you know the blurb because it was in the ARC form. You definitely know the tropes. I have never signed up for an ARC where the tropes were not listed because the authors don't want you to read their book either if you don't like the tropes of the book because they know they're not going to get a good review. Why would you sign up for an accidental pregnancy book if you hate accidental pregnancy trope? Why would you do that? And then you read it and give a 1 star review. Screw you. Like, make it make sense.
What she says.
Yeah,
It's
ditto. I co-sign.
Some reviews are shocking. Sometimes I'm going through those reviews and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I've seen them too, and I'm like, wait, like it says like in bold letters, dark romance. Like, what did you not get? Like, I could understand if they were like, oh, I didn't know what a dark romance was. I didn't know. I just picked it up. I didn't Google it, which I mean, come on, you should Google everything. But yeah, but these people are not the ones that are like, these are not the people that are leaving reviews like, oh, I didn't know that what a dark romance was. No, these people know. They're just, I don't know.
They're
I
just
don't want to.
mean. They're just, and
I didn't
that's
want
why,
to say.
and that's why authors too, like, just don't read the review. Don't go on Goodreads. Like, if you're a very sensitive person, hire a PA to curate your reviews for you and send you the good ones.
But it's a learning process as well. Like, especially if you just started out and you're writing your things, and even a 2 or 3 star review. Like, okay, what's the issue with the book and what can I do better next time? It's a craft. Okay, and you need to work on that craft and write and throw some more shit in the bin. Like, that's how it works. And get better at it, but not looking at your reviews, even though there are some bad ones that you're like, well, this wasn't really necessary. It's a bit mean, but you still learn from it. You still can take things away. Like, okay, what wasn't clicking? What wasn't clicking, Stephen? Okay. I read this book. Okay, I read this book and it was written by a male. Okay, and then he is going to write about a strong female character. Well, fork. I can stand female characters written by a man that plays out to be their blow up doll fantasy. Okay, it's not realistic.
No.
It's giving me a pain in me bum because there is no way a woman would talk like that. Stay in your lane and write about a bloody male character that is I don't know what. Then it would have made more sense. Okay. Cripey. So what did he learn? Hopefully. Maybe I shouldn't write my fantasy, my childhood fantasy, Pamela Anderson blow up doll in a book. Maybe don't. Like, and then you are writing.
Just change the genre of your book.
Or that. And then you're going, your focus is women, okay? That's your audience. There is not a woman in this world who actually enjoyed that. It's not a bloody Lara Croft either that you're like, nah, it's worse. Okay? You're just like, mate, you were. He had a wet time writing this novel, okay? I bet. Like the actual F. Oof. Just saying.
No.
I can't stand it.
Most
And
men
then
in
you
general don't want anything to do with a strong female. So they don't, how do you know how to write one? They want their women meek and mild and demure.
Oh, yeah, no. And then, to be honest, I only saw 4 and 5-star reviews, and I was like, did I actually read the same book there? And I don't like the, oh, if you don't leave me a good review, you will never get an arc again. Mate, I don't care.
Right. Why would I want it?
Yeah.
You actually think I will go to bed tonight crying myself to sleep because I don't get your next book?
That's
I
just
don't
one
give a
bad book
fork.
I don't have to read.
I'm feeling so upset right now. No, not really. You're not that big. I can't stand the ego from some, like, no, you're not that big. You still need your readers. And even if you're big, you still need your readers.
How you got big. You can't stay big without them.
Like, I had a bit of an issue with John Grisham, and everybody knows he's my auto-by-author. Till he bloody published a book with, bloody hell, 4 unfinished stories.
Yeah.
Don't think because you have a lot of readers you can pull that shit up.
You're gonna do, like, if you're on the level of John Grisham, right? And you want to do a book that is a compilation of some shorter stories, fine. But finish each story. It was a compilation of half-assed, thrown together bullshit that didn't ever have a resolution.
And he got away with that?
Yeah. Because of John Grisham.
Sort of. I don't think a lot of fans were happy. No. I think he won't do it again, that's for sure. It's like, oh, I'm having a bit of a writer's block for the last year. Can happen. It happens to the best of us. Like, I don't like, oh, you need to bloody whip out the stories every 2 months kind of thing. Because it's getting, the quality of the books are getting less and less and less. Just give a person the time to write a goddamn thing. Jeez. Like, I'm waiting patiently for the last 12 years for the new Game of Thrones one. Okay, I'm patiently waiting. Don't
I think
think
you're
it will
wait.
ever come.
I don't think so either.
Still.
I haven't even read them. Like I've been like waiting for like the last book to come out so I can like start them because I'm kind of like I know I'm gonna love it, and then I don't want to be like stuck forever waiting. So I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting.
Well,
I
that's
don't think
just stupid. It will not come, Megan.
I know that's why like I haven't even read the books, so I'm just kind of like I can't mourn something I haven't experienced yet. So that's sort of how I feel.
So, yeah. Mm. I don't think, like, the books not being finished was such a really bad thing. Like, the series on TV, that was a bad thing. Okay? Because that just sucked. Anyways, I could handle the books. Yeah, I'm not going into Game of Thrones more. The point is, ARC readers are readers that you need as an indie author. So treat them with respect as well. Like, I don't like authors, especially little entitled shits, that think they're the best authors in the bloody world. No, you're not. Especially indies. No, you're not. You're trying out. Be respectful to your readers. Okay? Because they're reading your book and they will read your next book and your next book and your next book if you're nice. But don't give them ultimatums.
Right. And don't put unrealistic expectations on them and understand what you can and cannot do. The FTC has very, very clear regulations. You can send out the ARC, you cannot require a review. You cannot require it.
But
And I
it
know that
works
sucks,
vice
but
versa a bit. Like some readers, sorry, dear readers, no, when you get an ARC, okay, it's how the author provided to you. So most of the time that will be an e-ARC. You can't throw your little baby tantrum because you want a physical book.
yeah, very, very few. I can count on one hand the number of indie authors that ever send physical ARCs because do you know how expensive that is?
Yes. And then most of the time, like the physical ones are like, it's kept for journalism or if they want to actually have like a famous author reading their book. Okay, you're not that famous.
I mean,
Like,
I've
oh,
gotten a few
yeah, but
paperback
rarely.
indie arcs, but yeah, no, it isn't. And yeah, sometimes authors can have unrealistic expectations, but so do readers.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and you're right, it's a sense of entitlement. They think, oh, I'm gonna, provide this review for you, so you need to give me X, Y, and Z. No, they don't have to do anything.
Yeah,
Like, it's
just
not your right to the book.
But
they're the ones that like
I'm an influencer. What, with 300 followers? Nobody cares.
yeah, no one cares. No one literally cares.
And
Like
even if you have 2 million followers,
Nobody cares either.
right? And just be people
Although
have a
two
lot of audacity.
million,
I swear to God, they have audacity. The number of posts I see in social media from both sides, from authors and from readers,
oh yeah,
that the baby authors are really guilty about sliding into DMs of popular book talkers and bookstagrammers, trying to, here, can you read my book? Okay, well, that might work some of the time. And some people may not mind. Like, I don't mind it when an author slides into my DMs and says, hey, do you want to read my book? But also, I have, what, 2,000 followers, like, on Instagram and, like, 2,600 on TikTok. I am not a big influencer. Um, so I don't mind it. And either I'll read about read the blurb or whatever the book's about, and I'll say yes or I'll say no. I've never had a problem telling somebody no. I know that might be hard to believe. Um, but the readers are just as bad.
oh yes.
Don't go slide into an author's DMs saying, hey, can you send me a physical copy of your book? I'll leave a review for you. Whether you have one follower or a million followers, the indie authors in particular, they can't afford it. Like, they're doing all they can to get the book to publish. Don't expect this shit for free.
No.
You're not that important.
And don't tag them in your review. Don't do
Oh
that.
God, yeah. Even if it's a 4-star review, but if you have made one critical comment in that book, post your review anywhere you want. Post it all over social media. Do not tag the author.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
No one's saying you can't post your review. Please, by all means, post your review. But you can post your review without tagging the author.
You can.
And it goes for people in your comments too. If someone in your comments tags the author, just stop doing this shit. Like, we're smart enough, right? No, I take that back. The general public is dumb. We've established this multiple times.
I almost wanted to ask you, is that a trick question?
Yeah. It blows my mind. Like, what? Just would you want somebody to call you out publicly on something that you did that they didn't like? Why would you do it to somebody
What
else?
it was.
Because it was John Grisham that didn't finish his stories.
I didn't tag him in the review.
No, I might. I might have.
I mean, does he even check his social media? It's probably a PA.
He's got handlers and agents and assistants. He doesn't look at any of that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you're good, Deb, if you want to do it. I don't think he's gonna see it, but
I normally don't, but oof, I don't think I actually did anyways.
You know he's not running his own social media.
True.
But
Although
the
he
indie
should.
authors are running their own social medias. Don't tag them. The only time I tag an author is if it's a 4 or 5-star review and everything I said was positive.
I don't normally.
I
It
only tag
doesn't
them
matter
in
if it's
5-star.
like a 5-star review or a 1-star review, which I don't often give, but I never tag the book most of the time though. Or tag is a big word.
Yeah, I typically don't even tag them in the review. Like, if it's a 5-star and I have no complaints, I'll tag them in the story and be like, I just read this. This was awesome. Thank you for the arc.
Mm.
Like, I don't even like go in detail about the review because I'm just gonna be like, just to the story.
And that's something that these PR companies need to be mindful of as well, because I know, I do a lot of arc reading for a lot of different PR companies. And when they do, like, when it's release day and they want you to post on socials that it's release day, they'll always have tag the author, tag the author, tag the author. Now, if you're not leaving a review, by all means, tag the author. If you're just saying, hey, book is live now, woo, tag the author. But if you're leaving your review and it's not great, don't tag. I don't care what the PR company said, don't tag the author.
Or like tag them, don't say what the review is, and just say thank you for the book.
Yeah.
You know?
Because yes, authors need to have thick skin, but we don't have to be mean. You know what I'm saying? Like, should they read some of their lower star reviews to see if where there's room for improvement? Sure.
Yeah, when you're ready.
Yeah, but I think that is
Right.
a part of the review as well. Like you can say, "Oh, this was a shitty book." Yeah, why? Why didn't it work for you? Like, I don't. What is that, by the way? Why do you think that when I want to read a review, you give the whole book away?
And not only that, but stop using what is essentially the blurb in your review. We can read the blurb on the back of the book or on the Amazon description. I don't need you to regurgitate that in your review. What I need to know is what you liked and what you didn't like. That's what I need in a review. Those are helpful, constructive reviews. Just giving me the recap of the book is not helpful.
No.
And I see so many reviews that basically are just the blurb.
Or just a
And none of
spoiler.
it,
Like
yeah,
everything
and
what's
none of
going
it says
on.
what they liked and didn't like.
It's
I try
like,
to always talk about if there was good character development or what I liked about a character or what I didn't like about a character. You know, those are the kind of reviews I try to give the kind of reviews that I like to read. They're
yeah.
helpful. That might help somebody decide if they want to pick up that book or not.
Yeah.
Because that's the point. Anybody can read the blurb on Amazon or the back of the damn book.
Yes. And if we don't want to read the book, we will read your review. Like, how? How can you give all the spoilers? And it's like, okay, I don't need to read the book anymore because, hey, it's all here.
And most of the time, I like to go into a book blind. I don't read blurbs.
I do read blurbs.
Sometimes I will. So if it's an author, if it's like one of my auto buy authors,
Oh,
I
then
don't
I
need to read the
don't.
blurb.
No.
Yeah, I'll just go ahead and be like, oh yeah, I'm reading that.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah.
true.
And I don't do a lot of.
I think it depends on the genre for me, if I read the blurb or not.
I pretty much only read one genre, so
Yeah, like, I've learned my lesson, somewhat about like not reading blurbs. Like, if it's something that like, if it's a genre that I'm kind of like, sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't, I'll read the blurb. Um, and I used to be like, oh yeah, science fiction, I will read whatever. And then, um, my husband wanted to be in a book club with me. It was like me and we had a roommate, and like me and the roommate were like have a book club, and he felt left out. And he's like, I want to read a book, and I'm like, you don't read books. And he's like, well, I want to try. And I said, okay, well, I have this one book. He's no, I want. Can I pick out the book? And I'm like, okay, control freak. Um, and he decides, he goes, oh, I found a free book on Amazon. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, this could be bad. But, you know, I thought for sure, like, he read, like, the blurb and then, like, the reviews. Because my husband is very, like, he's very, like, he analyzes everything. Like, he can't just go and just buy something. Like, he has to know the full history of it before he buys it. It could be the dumbest shit ever. And so we start reading this book, and I'm like, what? Wait, what? Apparently, and I'm like, wait, what? This is what's happening. The book, there's like 20 of them in a series. And I was like, okay, maybe it's doing well. The book is basically Earth being inhabited and taken over by giant hamsters.
Well, that's a very serious book.
I mean, how serious could it really be? Hamsters only live like 2 years. I mean,
Apparently, not these. I'm sorry, I cannot take that seriously, okay?
You're reading science fiction, you person. How seriously can you take it?
You're telling me that humankind is afraid of giant hamsters?
Well, I would.
I'm
Tentacles,
sorry.
same. Bloody
we
terrified.
can't go one conversation.
I would like to point out that I'm not the one that brought up the tentacles. I
Nor
brought
was I.
giant hamsters. Giant hamsters.
Deb
Okay.
complains about the amount of time we talk about tentacles, yet Deb is the one who brings it up most of the time.
I know, right? It's like she likes it, but she doesn't want us to.
Well, this was just like giving an example of being afraid,
You
terrified
had
of
tentacles on
giant
the brain.
hamsters. Oh, definitely.
So yeah, long story short, we kicked him out of book club. He's not allowed in book club. Um, ever, ever, no, mm-mm, no.
So once, what about trigger warnings?
I think they're good to have. Do I read them? No.
Yes.
Okay. So I'm gonna get some hate for this, and I'm okay. I have a thick skin. Um, Trigger warnings. Your triggers are not an author's responsibility. They're not. So if authors want to put trigger warnings in their book, by all means, there's nothing wrong with putting trigger warnings in their books. If it's helpful for readers, and I understand that. But you also have to understand, readers have to understand that just because something is a trigger warning for you, you're scared of hamsters. There's a hamster in the book. If I were the author, I would never think to add hamsters as a trigger warning. The trigger warning lists are never going to be exhaustive. So if you have a trigger, something that triggers you for whatever reason, and it's in a book and it wasn't listed, that is not on the author. They can't list every single thing that someone might be triggered by.
I agree with that.
And this is also what good reviews are for, because if someone had some issue with something in the book that was a trigger for them and they put that in their review, then other people are going to know, hey, this is in the book and it might trigger you. But your triggers are not an author's responsibility. They're just not.
No, I think it's like a whole new thing anyways, the trigger warnings. I can't actually remember when it all
Me too.
started to have trigger warnings. Like we never had trigger warnings. You read the book and you're like, ooh, maybe this is not for me. And you just threw away the book.
And
Well,
moved on with your life.
exactly. Well, yeah, no, this wasn't really for me without a whole bloody list of everything that's in the book, because that's another thing. Like you have the trigger lists and you know everything what's going to happen in the book.
Yep.
That's
It's
why
a
some
spoiler.
authors have started instead of just listing a list at the beginning of the book, they'll either put them at the back of the book and tell you in the front the list of trigger warnings is in the back of the book, or they will give you a link to their website where you can look at the trigger warnings, because some of us don't have any triggers, and so the only trigger I have: don't kill off an animal in the book. That's the only thing I need to know. If a dog is dying in the book, I'm not reading the book, so let me know that up front. But again, that's
Oh,
my thing. Like, that's why I never watched the movie John Wick. I know he spends the whole time avenging his dog, but I can't
yeah.
watch it because of
Yeah, that's
what happens in
absolutely
the beginning.
true.
But it is not, if an author is going to write in a book that a dog dies and doesn't list it in the trigger warning, I'm not going to get all butthurt about it because they didn't list it, because that's not their responsibility to protect me and my mental health. Your mental health matters, absolutely. And especially if you start diving into dark romance, I think there's more of a need for trigger warnings in dark romance, because there can be some, obviously it's dark by nature because it's a dark romance. So if you have those kinds of triggers, the dark romance probably isn't for you. Maybe it is. Who knows? A lot of people that have been through a lot of that stuff, that helps them cope. It helps them, so authors are doing what they can for trigger warnings, but I don't think that readers need to complain about how an author does it. If it's in the front of the book, great. If it's in the back of the book, great. If it's a link to the website, great. At least they're providing it.
To be
They don't
honest,
have to.
like if it would be in the back of a book, you people still know where it is. But other people that actually don't mind, they just can read the book without knowing what is going to happen within the book. Because that's the only thing I don't like about trigger warnings. Because it doesn't matter
They can be spoilers.
if it's an accidental pregnancy or things like it. It's like, well, it's not so accidental anymore, is it now?
No, where's the surprise? There's no surprise because you know you know
No.
everything. That's why I don't even like bother reading like anything before like chapter one in a book. Like I just don't
I'm
even
the
look.
same way.
I don't even look at it. Like I'm just like, nope,
I click
no.
right through. Yep. Now, sometimes the trigger warnings are fun, right? Like in the Ruinous Love series, Bryn Weaver had fun with those trigger warnings. I mean, and that made people want to read the book. I mean, you had trigger warnings like accidental cannibalism and not so accidental cannibalism. Like, if your heart is dark and black like mine, I was like, oh, give me this book. That her whole list of trigger warnings was like the best menu at an all-you-can-eat buffet for me. Like, I'm like, that's when I was like, okay, if Bryn Weaver writes it, I'm going to read it because she has a sense of humor. And these are like dark rom-coms. So it's like which until I had read those books, I didn't know dark rom-coms existed, but I'm like, oh, these are great. So she had fun with her trigger warning list, you know? But I mean, I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. Your triggers are not an author's issue. Do your own research. There are enough websites, either the author's website or you can read. A lot of times you can at least get some kind of idea from the blurb on the basic premise of the book. You know, if it's a stalker book and stalking is a trigger of yours, don't read it. You'll understand from the blurb or the trope list that this is probably not something you're going to vibe with.
I think so. It should be enough. Like sometimes we expect too much and like people grow some skin or spine.
Nobody wants to take personal accountability anymore.
No.
And that's the problem. It boils down to that. Like, your mental health absolutely matters. I'm not saying that it doesn't, and I'm not trying to be callous about it, but you can't expect an author to list every single thing that might possibly be a trigger to every single person. It's never going to happen.
Yeah,
it's not realistic either.
No.
Or maybe the whole book is a trigger warning.
I saw a post on, I don't know if it was Threads or Instagram, one of them, that this reader was mad because she didn't know that there were gay people in the book. Then that should have been listed as a trigger warning. Okay, somebody's sexual identity is not a trigger. It's who they are. Like, no.
Yeah, it's not.
Well, maybe you get really angry by it because you're like a very
homophobic.
Yeah. Well, or a really strong Christian believer. I think the LBQTA plus.
But it should be something that's listed in the tropes, but it's not. It should not be a trigger warning.
It shouldn't be a trigger. In all honesty, if it's like a Christian person saying that, then this is what I have to say. God's got you. Don't be scared. Just, it shouldn't be a trigger. Just saying. I'm going to get canceled, but whatever.
You can absolutely list it as a trope that it's an LGBTQ, representation in the book. Maybe a rep, not a trope. I know we're distinguishing between reps and tropes. I can't keep up on all the newest things that we do. But it's not a trigger. Like it's not a trigger warning that there's LGBTQ representation in the book. If that triggers you, you have bigger issues.
Yeah, I think it's a difficult one.
It's another one of those situations for me. The authors are damned if they do and damned if they don't. Like no matter what decision they make,
Hmm.
somebody's going to be pissed off about it.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't please everybody.
At the
Hmm.
end
But
of the day, authors are human too. Like show some
Oh,
grace.
yes. Like, and a lot of times it's just complete. Sometimes I'm just wondering if people actually going through a book and like, oh, this wasn't mentioned, and then just write it down just for the bloody sake of it. Like, some
I
people
feel like
actually really don't have a life.
yeah, I feel like some people literally like make bad reviews just
Oh,
because
yeah.
they like if I see somebody like on a book who's like giving like a scathing review, I will look up their profile on Goodreads and look and read every single one of their
Yep.
reviews. Because some people just, for some reason, it's like a power trip or something. Like, huh, I get to show them, little
Just
gremlin on the
angry people.
yeah, like I'm just
Oh,
like,
another one of the keyboard warriors.
yeah,
Hmm.
Ooh.
like it's like they don't have a life. I don't have a life either, but you don't see me doing this shit. Like,
No, you're talking to us.
yeah, you know.
Don't know what's better though.
I mean, I think this is probably better. This is probably better.
Oh, then some people start doing your head in anyways. Hmm.
You're never going to please everybody. So,
No,
the trend now is to include trigger warnings, and I think it's not a bad thing. Like if someone's going into a book, especially if it's a new to them author or maybe a genre that they're exploring because they're trying to broaden their reading horizons, and they do have things that will affect their mental health, and there's a list for the book, that's a good thing. Because obviously as an author too, who you don't want your book to negatively impact somebody if it could have been avoided. But you also have to realize that an author's
true,
not going to
but
know all your triggers.
well, yeah, and I think it really depends what kind of genre you are reading as well. Like if I'm reading a thriller, okay, I actually already know it will probably have a lot of blood and a serial killer and an I don't know what or a stalker or some sneaky peeky emming effa. It's not the same with dark romance. It's not a closed door street romance.
Yeah, so don't be surprised when you see it. And if
Yeah.
you do have like some of the things are just like common sense. Don't
Y-
read the
Well,
title.
exactly. You know there will be triggers if you read a certain genre book. And then I actually think I like the back probably more than having trigger warnings in the front. That's my
For me, I don't read them
opinion.
anyway, so I don't really care where they put them.
Well, I like sometimes to read the dedication and things like that. And then when you have the dedication, oh, there it is. Trigger warnings, motherfuckers.
I read the
Yeah,
dedications because sometimes those are funny. But
Mhm.
I don't
I
even read them.
skip
Like
through I skip through
Shame on you.
I skip through most of the stuff like because the dedication is usually like right before the first chapter anyway. So,
Yeah.
but I skip through all the other stuff. I don't read if the trigger warnings are in the front of the book. I'm just clicking past them. And I'll start with the dedication or the prologue or the first chapter, whatever's first.
Hmm.
But my whole point was you can't expect a list of trigger warnings to be exhaustive of every possible thing that could trigger you.
No.
The author doesn't live with you. The author doesn't know your history. How are they supposed to know that hamsters would be a trigger for you?
yeah, and I mean, in all honesty, you have to think about it. Like reading a book isn't really like what's the word? It's not you're not owed to read the book. It's a
I,
luxury.
you're not
Like
entitled to it. Yeah.
yeah, like it's a luxury. Like so you don't have to be catered. to it as much. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, oh, if I don't read this book, I'm gonna die. Like, it's not oxygen.
Well, I'm not sure about that. If you would take reading away, it might be dead. Just saying. I'll
Didn't know
take
it's
away the
all the
books.
free time I would suddenly have.
We have time for more.
But and
No.
that was my whole point, Megan, was the author doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah. Like,
No, I think when the biggest issues or triggers are there, it should be enough.
Like major ones. There's non-consent, there's stalking, there's, I don't even know if you would want to say gore, violence, maybe, like main categories.
Yeah. And just do your research, Jesus.
People are lazy.
Yeah, but then you also don't, like, for example, reading other reviews. You have so much spoilers in reviews nowadays that it's like, well, do you really want to go through all of the reviews to
Well,
find
and
things out?
for sake, if you're gonna leave a review that has spoilers, every damn review app has a book button you can click that says there are spoilers. So it'll hide it unless you want to read it, where you click, this review has spoilers. Do you want to read it? Yes. That's all you got. If you're going to leave a review with spoilers, you do you, boo, but click the damn button that says it has spoilers. You've already done the hard part of typing out the review. Just click the little button.
unless they're trying to be chaotic, then they're not gonna click it.
Because then they're just assholes.
Yeah, and I feel like there's probably some people like that too.
For sure.
Okay, guys. Well, that was our little opinions for this month. I'm not sure what we're doing next month, but as always, it will be a surprise just depending on what nice new things will rise up in the bookish world. Okay, we will all see you next month. Bye.
Bye.